Hello, my name is Anthony Badana. I was an engineer at Seal Beach during the Apollo era. I'm going to cover the fabrication of the bulkheads, welding, and some other things in this particular video. Basically, the bulkhead was used to separate the liquid oxygen from liquid hydrogen, which is two very extremely cold liquids. The hydrogen was the fuel, and the oxygen was the gas that allowed it to combust and burn. Conventionally, they would use two different bulkheads to separate them. In this particular case, they wanted to use the common bulkhead, which was extremely difficult to build. It had to be built to very extremely tight tolerances, so it was figured out by our engineers a method of doing that. They accomplished that by inventing explosive machining. What they did, they put a piece of metal in above a die, and it was underneath the pool of water, and put this explosive net that was on top and set it off, and they would form into the die. And there was 12 pieces of metal that were done, and they would assemble them later on into a gore. Quite a unique way of doing machining. I'd never heard of something like that before, and it worked. They assembled these things, and they were right to the tolerance they wanted. They added the peripheral items that needed to add to this bulkhead, and above you'll see the jigs and things they used to form it so they could weld the seams together. It was quite a complicated system, but it worked. And the welding was another big problem. They had to made a weld that would have to be run continuously. They had special welders that were made, and they were specially made to weld these gourds together, so and actually turn them into bulkheads. So they did this, and I'm showing a lot of the different welding machines they had, and they had a lot of trouble with the welders too, but they finally got it all worked out, and the theory was correct, and it worked fine. I thought I'd make sure you get to see as many welds as I could possibly find from welders. And when it was all done, they called it the dollar section. And this is, I'm not quite sure what this, I think, is inside the one of the buildings. This is the vertical assembly building. That's where they got these gores. They put them in into the rockets and assemble it all together. Here's a picture of one on top here. There's another welding. They were welding some of the metals for the outer sections of the rocket, and it was all done in that particular building, the vertical assembly building. There was other parts they put on there too. They had to assemble it, and it was quite a chore. This was the hydro test they did on one section of the rocket. It was also in the same vertical assembly. It was like a smaller building next to it. And this is them putting in some of the panels for the rocket itself. And this is they're loading the rockets. And this is the top view looking down. There's a side view here of the assembled rocket there. And then they would ship this after it was done. They would send it to Mississippi. And here's some more pictures of other sections coming in to be attached and welded, whatever they needed to do to get this S2 stage completed. And here's one of the carts they used when they pulled it around with that thing. They had and there's a lower section and the upper section, and they assemble in that manner. And that's a picture of the vertical assembly building with all the parts in it, and these are the guys that worked on it, and they're showing. This is probably some of the management at the front here. It was, and here's some of the insulation stuff that was put inside. You can see in there a little tiny spot. And these are, I guess this was some of the storage they had in that particular building. They had all the parts in. And this is a structural static test tower they had there for doing some of the static. And this is a paint like their paint booth, but they painted it and did whatever other things in there too. This is the Saturn IIs being shipped down to the docks, and the docks were close by, about maybe a half mile away. This facility was on the right next to the water itself. And here they show them loading into this barge that was used to transport it over to Mississippi facility. Anyway, they're coming to the end of my video, and thank you for watching my video, and this is the end. Thank you and all.